Right, so welcome to the Alien Spaceship with myself, Emmy Hikins, and he calls me bruv.
And me, Trevor Gear, and he calls me Cuz.
Yeah, right. So I found something that I found a bit disturbing. Not disturbing in a disturbing way, but disturbing in a way that
Right.
I couldn't get my head around it because we don't talk about serious disturbing on this show. So let me just and it was the fact that there's this talk show host called Bill Maher. Have you heard of him? American? He's a
Bill Maher?
yeah, Bill
No,
Maher. Yeah. He's a
never
really
heard of him.
famous talk show. So Bill Maher and I don't know if you know the singer. Well, everyone knows the singer Taylor Swift. You've
Yeah.
heard of the singer Taylor Swift. Anyway, I think she was dating I can't remember if it was well, it was a sports person anyway called Travis
Yeah,
Kelce.
that's right.
Yeah, Travis Kelce was called. And I thought of and I kind of was happy for her because when you're in the limelight, or you're someone famous or a celebrity, it's your whole life is on a spotlight.
Yeah.
You've got your relationship and everything. And I run one of the shows. It was a British show hosted by what's this guy's name? Oh, it was a late night BBC talk show. I just so I saw her there, and she being asked about um the she was being a relationship with this. It does come up um about her personal life, and she was quite happy. She spoke happily about the guy, and she was like, "Oh yeah, we're so much." Um, and then afterwards, I saw her at one of his games. Um,
Right.
yeah, and she actually went to see him play. And I thought, oh, I'm hoping it's a happy story. But anyway, Bill Maher sort of predicted their breakup. And I sort of got upset about that. I don't know why. I'm not a fan of Taylor Swift. I couldn't tell you
No.
one of her songs. But I was just happy for her, being happy. And it sort of made me upset. And I thought, well, how dare you call somebody's relationship or call the outcome of somebody's relationship, as to whether it's gonna, um, whether it's gonna be, what's that word I'm looking for? Whether the relationship is gonna end well or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, when we do, in terms of the length of the relationship, we don't know, do we? Because they could have 4 kids and still split up. We don't know,
Yeah.
but at
Yeah.
least for the short foreseeable time. And then it dawned on me that subconsciously, Trevor, we all call time on on famous people's relationship. And this is a
Yeah.
confession. It's a confession. I don't know if anybody else does it, but I'm saying it for myself. We all call time on people's
Mm.
relations. And I wonder why. Is it because they famous, it's bound to fail, or it's just a trend that most relationships are doomed for for the iceberg, that sort of thing. What do you make of that, Trevor?
Yeah. I mean, I think we all probably do that, but not so much call time. But I think there are some relationships you read about famous people, and you just think that ain't going to last. And it's even difficult to say why we might think that. But and very often we are proved correct. I think a number of reasons. First of all, if you've got two famous people, maybe one is likely to be a bit more famous, if you like, than the other.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't help because you've got than the other.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't help because you've got anybody who's famous must have a pretty large ego,
Yeah.
which is not necessarily a negative thing, but they are used to people holding the door open for them metaphorically and literally. No one
Yeah.
really says no to them, so you inevitably develop this sense of I'm special. I'm a great artist, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think when you've got two competing egos, particularly if they maybe are similarly famous, then that you can see why sometimes that goes wrong because the other person isn't going to kowtow to you and say, "Oh, anything you want, I'll do it." So it must be difficult for any famous people. Another side of it is if a famous person, is hitched with someone who isn't famous or is, you know, marginally famous. I mean, like the sportsman of Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Um, but if they're not famous at all, if they just have an ordinary life, as we say, it's difficult to see that working either because, sometimes you read of famous men and women when they write their book or often after a breakup, after a divorce, they say, I was sick and tired of being always known as the wife of, the partner of, as anybody would. And I mean, it must work the other way around, where if a guy is married to a well-known woman, and she's the one adulated, if that's a word, then he's going to come to a point and think, actually, I'm just you know, a bit part in this whole setup. So I think relationships where there's one or two famous people involved start off against the odds. Really, they'll do pretty well to last the course. I mean, we can look at a recent example of Eamon Holmes and Ruth Langford. I mean, I guess they were both similarly famous, or at least he was more famous when they got together. Excuse me, but I think she's on that ITV program called Loose Women,
Yeah.
and I think she's made quite a good career for herself. So that's come a cropper after quite a few years, and I think they've got two sons, maybe in the age of late teens or early 20s. I could be wrong. I know they've got kids, but anyway, I think it's probably two boys. But yeah, so it can go wrong. So I think you say, why do we kind of predict this? Well, that may be to do with it. I'm not sure why Bill Maher. Did you say he interviewed them on his show?
Uh, Um, I'm gonna get the name just came to me now. It was a British presenter that interviewed them on his show. Not them, not the couple, but Taylor
No.
Swift was definitely on with some other celebrities from America.
I mean, not. Do you mean Graham Norton? Would it
That's
be
the
him?
one, yeah.
Yeah, on a Friday night. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
good.
Friday
He's very
night,
good.
yeah, that's the one, yeah. Dear me, I couldn't remember Graham not. Exactly. Yeah. So when I saw, I was quite happy for her. Um, I didn't want to say, it's not gonna last because she was a celebrity. I was just happy for her. I don't know why. I just thought, you know what, she deserves to be happy. Because sometimes they start saying, ain't it, you can't have everything in life.
Yeah,
And it might be true in the case of the celebrities. You cannot have a successful career,
yeah,
work-wise, and then have a successful family life or a happy family life. And I think, well, why can't they? They certainly deserve it. They've worked hard for it. Obviously, they've made a lot of sacrifices. Some of them have made a lot of sacrifices to then climb the ladder to get to where they are. And I'm thinking it's a bit unfair for them not to be able to have everything. But I suppose you can't have everything in life. I suppose it holds true in those instances, don't it? And